Welcome to High on Life, an incredible game set in a vibrant universe where you can experience everything you hoped for. Black market aliens, semen dealers round every corner, Jack Black and Susan Sarandon cameos. Drug addicts having heart attacks after one line too many. Perverts watching tentacle porn and trying to justify it. Old West shootouts with alien ants. And of course, anal cavity searches. Yes, really. Chaotic fights with crazy alien guns that mow through generations of enemies, helping with human experimentation and discussing morality, and crazy boss battles with drug cartel leaders. So crack out the beers, spark up a spliff, and let's get to it. After turning the Screndel brothers into paste and dabbling in human experimentation last episode, we kick things off back home, chatting with Gene. He tells us we need a lot more firepower if we're going to take out Garmantuous. Luckily, there's a Gatlian powerful enough to help, locked away in the lab of our next bounty target, Dr. Giblets. But there's a catch. We've got to play space detective and find him ourselves. No GPS, just gut instinct and a half-broken suit assistant called Sweeto who won't shut up about turning on detective mode. So I do the obvious, wander around town, harassing locals. I start with Blorto, a greasy food stand guy who gets real defensive the moment I ask about Dr. Giblets. Suspicious? Yes. Torture-worthy? Probably. But alas, that's not an option. After interrogating a few other aliens, one guy, Michael Taint, yes really, spills the beans. He plays poker with Blorto and says if I drop his name, the food guy will talk, which he does, immediately. Coward. Blorto tells me I'll find someone who knows where Giblets is inside the High on Life Hyperbong store in the slums. So, off I go, back to where I committed my first act of ant genocide. The local ant soldiers remember, and now call me the legendary ant killer, which honestly sounds badass. Inside the store, I get nothing from the terrified employees, useless as a cactus dildo. Just as I give up, two shady aliens show up and try to intimidate me. I consider turning them into pink mist, but they teleport away before I get the chance. Outside, I find a trampled corpse and loot some magnetic boots off his warm body. Hey, waste not. I bounce out of the slums and back home, where the two aliens from before reappear and apologize profusely. Turns out they work for Klug Nugman, who wants a chat. Klug tells me exactly where Giblets is hiding, hands over a warp drive, and we head straight to his base. But something's off. The place is already a crime scene, full of corpses and chaos. I activate detective mode, becoming a cracked-out version of Scooby-Doo. Turns out Giblets was even more messed up than me. He was experimenting on his henchmen, hoarded second-place trophies, loser, and wrote rants all over the walls, probably in his own poop. Then we find a Gatlian, locked in a security room, likely the weapon Gene mentioned. But right as I'm patting myself on the back, Sweeto chimes in, saying he hacked the system and already knows everything. Thanks for the wasted effort, mate. Turns out Giblets had a full-blown psychotic break, murdered everyone, then fled to a panic room. We open the door, ready for a fight, and he immediately falls off a stool, cracks his helmet, and dies. Just like that. Easiest boss ever. But before I can lie about a 360 no-scope finish, his death triggers a trapdoor and I fall into a kill arena. Surprise! Turns out he expected someone to eventually murder him and pre-recorded a bunch of rants accusing everyone of wanting him dead. First, he thinks Kruby's killed him because he stole his wife, married her, then accidentally murdered her. Next, he accuses Douglas, who apparently had a steamy orgy with the Screndel brothers that Giblets photographed for blackmail. Then, he blames Nipulon, says he's activating a self-destruct sequence, but forgets to set it up. Giblets was crazy and lazy. Love that. Eventually, he concludes he must have killed himself and congratulates me on surviving. Finally, something we agree on. I collect the mostly dead Gatlian from the lab and we warp home. Gene promises he can definitely save him, seconds after saying he didn't want to get our hopes up. He then drops another bomb. Lizzie's gone missing. Claims he doesn't care, but it's obvious he's worried. Her boyfriend Tweeg works at Space Applebee's, so off we go. And that's where we wrap up episode 5. I'm not going to beg for likes and subscribes, but if you don't, Dr. Giblets will probably sleep with your wife and murder her in a lab accident. Just saying.